to you live streaming of Senate plenary and other activities of the National Assembly. Today, the 23rd of June 2016, we are here on the floor of the Senate to bring to you live streaming of Senate plenary. On the other paper today, we have quite a number of items to be looked into. We have a presentation of bills, about 4 bills will be presented, and of course 2 bills will also be considered. To be considered are the report of the Committee on Tertiary Institution and TED Fund, and of course report of Committee on Sports and Youth Development. We have about 12 motions also to be considered. The Senate President is of course about entering the chamber now, so I'll advise you just sit back, relax, and enjoy the plenary today. And of course you can get us on www.nas.gov.ng/live. As you can see, the President is on his way to the chamber. So relax and enjoy the plenary, please. See you.
To inspire and guide all our counsels and actions so that we may always walk in the path of justice, love, and charity to one another. Help us with thy grace to do only those things that will promote the unity, happiness, and prosperity of Nigeria. Amen.
Ade, you are not on stage.
Senator Gala, welcome. Distinguished colleagues, please take your seats. Distinguished colleagues, please take your seats. Distinguished colleagues, please take your seats. Senator Kabiru Gaya, God bless you, I'm back. Senator Sonny Obuji, please take your seat. Sonny Obuji from Umaya, please take your seat. He's my boss, I can't mention his name. Distinguished Senator Samaya, will please take your seat. Senator Matthew Urogide, please take your seat. Senator Matthew Urogide, please take your seat. Senator Clifford, God bless you as you take your seat. I don't want to mention your name now. No, no, he's a principal officer. Why are you calling me my name? You're not a principal officer, you are governor. My own leader. How are you? Senator Shehu Sani, please take your seat. Senator Lafiaji of Azikiwe, please take your seat. Senator Yusufu, please take your seat. Senator Lafiaji Zik, please take your seat. Senator Shehu Sani, please take your seat. Senator Lafiaji Zik, please take your seat. Acting Senate Leader, please take your seat. Because Zico has gentlemen. Senator Eno.
See your acting with me.
Are you properly dressed?
See your this. Why sit down?
Why? No, it's. Senator Mao, welcome. Thank you for taking your seat. Senator Akume, the chamber is waiting for you. The Great Tether Hall, the greatest hall in Nigerian universities. Please take your seat. Senator Tazi, allow the Senate President to preside. Yeah, go and sit down, my friend. Senator Lidali, please take your seat.
Give me this place. Man, what is his name? Yes, give me Kecharo.
Senator Wakili, please take your seat. Senator Solomon, largest constituency in Nigeria. Please allow the most popular senatorial constituency in Nigeria. Yes, we don't represent land, we represent people. Mr. President, sir, the chamber is set for today's proceeding.
I now move that the vote and proceedings of Wednesday, 22nd June 2016 be adopted. I so move.
Senator Nelson Effiong.
Thank you, Mr. President. I remain Senator Nelson Effiong, representing Akwa Ibom South. I rise to second that motion.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor that the votes and proceedings of Wednesday, 22nd June 2016 be hereby approved, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Votes and proceedings of Wednesday, 22nd June 2016 is hereby approved. Announcements. I wish to acknowledge the presence of members of the National Association of Public Administration Students, University of Abuja, Gwamnada, Abuja, members of the Committee of TIF Students, University of Abuja, Gwamnada, Abuja, members of the National Association of Imo State Students, University of Abuja, Gwamnada, Abuja, and staff and students of Kingdom Heritage Model School, Airport Road, Abuja, who are in the gallery to observe Senate proceedings. I wish them a fruitful observation of the Senate proceedings. Please sit down. Petitions? Yes, Senator Magigi.
I'm here. Thank you, Mr. President. Ovie Omo Agege. I represent the good people of Delta Central Senatorial District. Mr. President, I have a petition from one of my constituents. His name is Colonel Arigbe. It alleges wrongful retirement from the Nigerian Army. Mr. President, the petition is dated the 23rd day of June 2016. It is seeking the intervention of this Senate to ameliorate the situation. Mr. President, I crave your indulgence to lay the said petition.
Yeah, come and leave. Thank you. But back in 2 weeks. Leader of the Senate. Leader Senator Onachi.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Senator Gilbert Unaji, representing Enugu East Senatorial District of Enugu State. Mr. President, I come under order 42, matter of urgent public importance, order 42-1, and also order 52, Mr. President.
Go ahead.
The matter for discussion shall, if possible, be referred to the President of the Senate before commencement of this day's sitting, and the President of the Senate shall refuse to allow the claim unless if he is satisfied that the matter is definite and continued reduction of the fine imposed by the Nigerian Communication Commission over MTN Nigeria Limited from 1.04 trillion naira to 330 billion. Mr. President, I said that it is important that I bring this motion to the floor of the Senate. Mr.
Distinguished colleagues, according to light of our rules, Senator Naja has come under 42 and 52, which he mentioned to me, and in line with our rules, we must take the leave of our distinguished colleagues, put the questions so that this matter can be heard as according to his prayer. Those in favor that we give leave for this say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Something that you go ahead.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I still remain Senator Gilbert Inaji, Chairman of the Senate Committee on Communications, and I represent Enugu East Senatorial District. Mr. President, the Senate are aware that the Nigerian Communication Commission, NCC, enabled by Nigerian Communication Act 2003, is the statutory regulator for the telecommunication industry in Nigeria. Aware that as the regulator, the Commission has been imposing fines on erring telecoms operators over the years, and proceeds from the redemption of such fines have been lodged in the Commission's designated account. Recall that in October 2015, in line with the Nigerian Communication Commission Registration of Telephone Subscribers Regulation 2011, the Nigerian Communication Commission, NCC, imposed a fine of 1.04 trillion naira on MTN Communication Nigeria Limited for failing to deactivate 5.2 million unregistered subscribers on its network. The Senate notes that Section 19 and 20 of Nigerian Communication Commission Registration of Telephone Subscribers Regulation 2011 does not empower the Commission or any other entity or government officials to reduce any fine so imposed. The Senate regrets that this fine was unilaterally reduced from 780 billion naira without the input of the Ministry of Communication and the Nigerian Communication Commission, which constitutes a flagrant breach of this regulation and an attempt to whittle down the authority of the Commission. Further regret that through some negotiation process, excluding the Ministry and the Commission, but championed by the Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation, MTN was requested to pay a sum of 50 billion as a gesture of good faith toward the settlement of the fine. Mr. President, the Senate recalled that the attendant confusion created by the claim and counter-claim over the veracity of the payment of the said 50 billion by MTN and the administration of the money in a CBN recovery account as if the money in question was a stolen fund, prompted the Committee on Communication to embark on fact-finding meeting of all the stakeholders involved on March 10, 2016. These include the Attorney General of the Federation, Accountant General of the Federation, Minister for Communication, Governor of Central Bank, Executive Vice Chairman of NCC, and Managing Director, MTN Nigeria Limited. The Senate regrets to discover by the admission of the Accountant General of the Federation, the Senate regrets to discover by the admission of the Accountant General of the Federation at the meeting that the 50 billion naira was actually lodged in a CBN recovery account on the instruction of the Accountant General of the Federation. Further regret to discover through a document available to the committee that MTN had already made a proposal of final payment of 300 billion as at the time of the meeting in March, which led to the committee to conclude that there is a secret agreement between MTN, the Attorney General of the Federation, the Accountant General of the Federation to admit the 50 billion naira as the commencement of the execution of a final agreement of 300 billion. The Senate allowed to observe that the reduced fine of 780 billion naira was further slashed to 330 billion through a settlement payment plan that smacked of unpatriotism and insensitivity of the parties that agreed to the new amount in spite of the economic plight currently facing the country. Mr. President, the Senate laments that Nigeria has been sustained in this whole process on account of the ridiculous settlement payment plan coupled with the disparity in the exchange rate regime when the fine was imposed ab initio, compared with the current prevailing exchange rate when the value of Naira is taking a downward slide. The Senate notes, therefore, that as the representative of Nigerian people, we are saddened about this development coming at a time when Nigerian economy needs all the available capital infusion to bolster it. The Senate accordingly resolved: 1. Direct the Committee on Communication to invite all the relevant stakeholders, including the Minister of Justice, Accountant General of the Federation, Minister of Communication Technology, Executive Vice Chairman of Nigerian Communication Commission, Accountant General of the Federation, Governor of Central Bank, Managing Director MTN Nigeria Limited, and all other parties involved in all negotiations to shed light on the matter, especially whether the reduction was in accordance with the regulation of NCC governing fines and penalties. 2. Urge the federal government to move the initial amount of 50 billion from CBN recovery account to CBN NCC Treasury single account. I so move, Mr. President.
Distinguished colleagues, I think this matter says the prayer is for it to go before the committee. So I think better just go straight to the prayer. So there's no need for us. The prayer is a simple one-line prayer, as it says, direct the Committee of Communications to invite all the relevant stakeholders, including the Minister of Justice, Attorney General, Minister of the Communication, Executive Vice Chairman, Nigeria Communication Commission, Accountant General, Governor of Central Bank, Managing MTN, and all other parties involved in all the negotiations should shed light on the matter, and especially to confirm whether the reduction was done in accordance with the regulations of the law guiding MCC. I think this is a very straightforward prayer. Those in favor of prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The Chairman Communication, the report back in 2 weeks by the time we come back. Leader of the Senate.
No.
Point of order, Senator Binta.
Thank you, Mr. President. Distinguished colleague, I come on order 43 on personal explanation. By the indulgence of the Senate and the leave of the President.
Distinguished Senator Binta, you know we are gender friendly. Don't be intimidated. You can attempt 42. It is may. It is not shall, and I'm sure that looking at the mood of the Senate, it is likely that we will entertain it. So come under 42. 42 and 52.
May I stand on order 42 and 52? The matter for discussion shall possibly be referred to the President of the Senate before commencement of the day's sitting, and the President of the Senate shall refuse to allow the claim unless he is satisfied that the matter is definite and urgent. Order 52. Notice shall not be dispensed with the case of a motions or in respect of any of the proceedings for which notice is required, except when the consent of the President of the Senate and the general assent of the senators present. On this, Mr. President.
Yeah, distinguished colleagues, Senator Binta Masi, according to our rules, did see me in regards today being the International Widows Day for us to come on under 42 and 52, considering that it's a day specific that once we miss it. So I'll put the question to those in favor for us to allow to move this motion. Say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Go ahead, Senator Binta.
Thank you, Mr. President. 2016 International Women's Day, a Widow's Day. The theme is never alone. The Senate knows that on 23rd of June is observed as the International Widows' Day, recalls that on the 23rd of June 2005, the Lumba Foundation, a non-governmental organization that provides support for widows and their children for education and rehabilitation, declared the first International Widows' Day. Further recall that on the 22nd of December 2010, the United Nations at its 65th General Assembly officially ratified June the 23rd as International Widows' Day and urged its members' nation to focus on the needs of the widows. Aware that the International Widows' Day is celebrated to draw attention to the plight of millions of widowed women worldwide. Further aware that widowed women and children are often stigmatized and exposed to extreme forms of deprivations, they often experience property theft, evictions, social isolation, forced marriages, and physical abuse. Worried that statistics shows at 2015 that there was an estimated 259 million widows and 585 million children of widows in the world. Over 150 million widows lived in abject poverty and suffer from social stigmatizations and economic deprivations. Further worried that 1.5 million widowed children died before their 5th birthday, they often face horrors such as child marriage, illiteracy, forced labor, human trafficking, homelessness, and sexual abuse. Recognize that fundamental right is clearly captured in Chapter 5 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended, and Section 34(1) and A stipulates that every individual is entitled to respect for the dignity of his person, and no person shall be subjected to torture or to inhuman or degrading treatment. Further recognize that Section 15 of the Violence Against Person Prohibition Act 2015 stipulates that any person who subjects a widow to harmful traditional practices committed an offense and shall be sent to prison for up to 2 years or pay a fine of up to 500,000 or both fines and imprisonment. Concerned that the above constitutional provisions and legislations of the National Assembly are often flagrantly violated, and the plight of widows worldwide have come to be regarded as an invisible calamity. Accordingly resolved, encourage and reassure widows worldwide, and Nigeria in particular, that they will never be alone in their struggles. Urge the federal and state government to ensure that the widow's right to dignity of human person is protected and as enshrined in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended. Urge the federal and state government to ensure the domestication and the implementation of the provision of Violence Against Persons Act. And lastly, urge the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs to ensure that programs for the education and empowerment of widows are captured and provided in their annual budget estimate. I so move, Mr. President.
Distinguished colleagues, I think this DSP. Well, I rise to second this motion ably presented and conscientiously presented by our friend and colleague, Senator Binta. Excellency, at this time, when families are struggling, where a man and his wife find it difficult to provide for their families and school fees and hard
to come by. Health care is also challenging to families. We can imagine the hardship widows are going through without the breadwinners of the family. So it's a good thing that we set aside a day such as this to express our concern and solidarity to all widows. And as it said in the Bible, God will remain their husbands. But we as individuals and human beings must be seen to play our role in identifying with them at critical moments. Now that fasting is on amongst our Muslim brothers and sisters, I think it is time to remember the widows and reach out to them with monies and food items. During Christmas, Easter, and Muslim festivals, we must ensure that they also celebrate with the rest of Nigerians. And it behoves on us as public servants and other individuals to ensure that we carry them along at such moments so that they will feel part and parcel of this country. They will feel loved and cared for. So once more, I support this motion and I wish to strongly second the motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Senate President. We'll just go straight to the prayers. Prayer 1, urge and encourage and reassure widows worldwide and Nigeria in particular, they will never be alone in their struggles. Those in favor of prayer 1 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 2, urge the federal and state government to ensure that the widow's right to dignity of human person is protected as enshrined in the 1999 Constitution as amended. Those in favor of prayer 2 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 3, urge the federal and state government to ensure the domestication and implementation of the provisions of the VAPP Act. Those in favor of prayer 3 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. And prayer 4, urge the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs to ensure that programs for education and empowerment of widows are captured and provided for in their annual budget estimates. Those in favor of prayer 4 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Additional prayer? Any additional prayer? Okay, distinguished colleagues, I just want to join in recognizing today the International Widows' Day, which is actually a day that is ratified by United Nations as part of the importance in us addressing the issue of poverty and injustice being faced by millions of widows and their dependents. And I think bringing this forward today shows that the 8th Senate identifies with widows, and these are people that we must let them feel that they are not alone, and as such we must play our role to ensure that every part of government, state, federal, local government, continue to do things to give them succor to some of the challenges that are out there. As DSP said, there's so many challenges out there for everyone, especially I'm sure for those of our widows, so we must continue to give them the most support that they need. Thank you. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President and my distinguished colleagues, the first business of the day is presentation of a bill standing in the name of distinguished Senator Gilbert Nnaji on the National Environmental Standards Regulatory Enforcement Agency Act 2007 Amendment Bill 2016. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, National Environmental Standards Regulatory Enforcement Agency Act 2007, Amendment Bill 2016, SB 207, first reading.
National Environmental Standards Regulatory Enforcement Agency Act 2007, Amendment Bill 2016, SB 207, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President and my distinguished colleagues, the second business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of distinguished Senator Monsurat Somonu on the Independent National Electoral Commission Act 2010 Amendment Bill 2016. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Independent National Electoral Commission Act 2010, Amendment Bill 2016, SB 297, first reading.
Independent National Electoral Commission Act 2010, Amendment Bill 2016, SB 297, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President and my distinguished colleagues, the third business of the day is presentation of a bill standing in the name of distinguished Senator Abdullahi Adamu on the Tertiary Education Trust Fund Act 2007, Amendment Bill 2016. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Tertiary Education Trust Fund Act 2007, Amendment Bill 2016, SB 300, first reading.
Tertiary Education Trust Fund Act 2007, Amendment Bill 2016, SB 300, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President and my distinguished colleagues, the fourth business of the day is presentation of a bill standing in the name of distinguished Senator Stella Odua on the Integrated Community Development Agency Establishment ETC Bill 2016. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Integrated Community Development Agency Establishment, etc. Bill 2016, SB 305, first reading.
Integrated Community Development Agency Establishment, etc. Bill 2016, SB 305, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President and my distinguished colleagues, the fifth business of the day is presentation of a bill standing in the name of distinguished Senator Mustafa Bukar on the legal framework for public-private partnership establishment ETC Bill 2016. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Legal Framework for Public-Private Partnership Establishment, etc. Bill 2016, SB 306, first reading.
Legal Framework for Public-Private Partnership Establishment, etc. Bill 2016, SB 306, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President and my distinguished colleagues, the sixth business of the day is presentation of a bill standing in the name of distinguished Senator Suleiman Adoke on the Universal Basic Education Act 2003 Amendment Bill 2016. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Universal Basic Education Act 2003 Amendment Bill 2016, SB 307, first reading.
Universal Basic Education Act 2003, Amendment Bill 2016, SB 307, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President and my distinguished colleagues, the seventh business of the day is presentation of a bill standing in the name of distinguished Senator Gershon Bassey on the Correction, Reformation and Reintegration Center Establishment Bill 2016. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Correction, Reformation and Reintegration Center Establishment, etc. Bill 2016, SB 308, first reading.
Correction, Reformation and Reintegration Center Establishment, etc. Bill 2016, SB 308, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President and my distinguished colleagues, the eighth business of the day is presentation of a bill standing in the name of distinguished Senator Nelson Effiong on the Maritime University Nigeria Oron Establishment ETC Bill 2016. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Maritime University of Nigeria Oron Establishment, etc. Bill 2016, SB 309, first reading.
Maritime University of Nigeria Oron Establishment, etc. Bill 2016, SB 309, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President and my distinguished colleagues, the ninth business of the day is presentation of a bill standing in the name of distinguished Senator Stella Odua on the Personal Information Protection Bill 2016. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Personal Information Protection Bill 2016, SB 310, first reading.
Personal Information Protection Bill 2016, SB 310, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President and my distinguished colleagues, the 10th business of the day is presentation of a bill standing in the name of distinguished Senator Chukwuka Utazi on the Cattle Movement Control Bill 2016. Mr. President, you may wish to call the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Cattle Movement Control Bill 2016, SB 311, first reading.
Cattle Movement Control Bill 2016, SB 311, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President and my distinguished colleagues, the 11th business of the day is the presentation and consideration of the report of the Committee on Niger Delta on the 2016 budget proposals of the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC. Mr. President, you may wish to invite distinguished Senator Peter Nwobushi, Chairman of the committee, to move the motion to receive and consider the report.
Senator Peter Nwobushi.
Mr. President, my name is Senator Peter Nwobushi, representing the good people of Delta North. Our distinguished colleagues, I move that the Senate do receive and consider the report of the Committee on Niger Delta on the 2016 budget proposal of the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC. I so move.
Senator Bubri.
Your Excellency, distinguished colleagues, my name is Ibrahim Gover, representing Sokoto East. I second that the Senate do receive the report of the Committee on Niger Delta on the 2016 budget proposal of the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC. I so support, Your Excellency.
Mr. President and my distinguished colleagues, I move that the Senate move...
Let me get him to lay it first. Distinguished colleagues, those in favor that the Senate do receive the report of the Committee on the Niger Delta on the 2016 budget proposal of the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Senator Peter Nwobushi, come and lay the report first. Then we'll take the next one. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, the distinguished Senator Peter Nwobushi, having read the report, I move that we suspend all relevant orders in our rules to consider the report as late, Mr. President.
And a little bit. Thank you, Mr. President. Distinguished colleagues, I rise to second the motion that's moved by the Senate leader that the report be considered. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor that we suspend our rules and consider the report of the Committee of the Niger Delta and 2016 budget proposal of the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDCC, say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Senator Peter Nwobushi.
Thank you, Mr. President. I remain Senator Peter Nwobushi, representing the good people of Delta North. Distinguished colleagues, the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, through a communication to the Senate, presented a budget proposal of 260 billion and 60 240 million naira only for the Niger Delta Development Commission for the fiscal year 2016 as follows. Personal expenditure 17.560,518,3,930. Overhead expenditure 9.9800. Internal capital expenditure 1.300. Development projects 231,224,0000. Total 260 billion 64 million naira only. Revenue sources. The revenue sources for the proposed budget are made up of the following. Revenue brought forward 9.964000. Federal government contribution 60 billion. Federal government contribution, that is unpaid arrears by the federal government, 50 billion. Oil companies contribution and others 130 billion. Ecological funds 10 billion. Other internally generated realized income 100 million. Total 260 and 64 million. Upon referral, the committee carried out its legislative mandate on the bill, and in line with the thrust of this year's budget, the committee adequately funded ongoing projects to ensure project completion, maximize project abandonment, and accommodate limited new projects according to specific community needs. 2. While carrying out its mandate on the bill, the committee extracted duplications in the projects, and the excesses from the duplications were channeled to project development. 3. The committee also observed that the estimated federal government contribution to the commission was 60 billion, whereas what was approved in the 2016 Appropriation Act is 41 billion and 50 million naira. This automatically translates to a shortfall of about 18 billion 950 million naira in the estimated revenue. The unpaid arrears of federal government of 50 billion for the 2016 was reflected in the NDDC budget estimate, but was not captured in the 2016 Appropriation Act and therefore not realizable. 4. The Senate, the House of Representatives, and the management of the Niger Delta Development Commission have thus agreed to increase the revenue profile of oil companies, as there has been a significant increase in the remittance by the companies arising from the intervention by the National Assembly. This gives a total of 241 billion 114 million, leaving a shortfall of 18 billion 950 million naira only. Number 5. Adjustments were made to reflect the new figure of 241 billion 114 million naira. The adjustment reductions were made only in the capital projects, amounting to 8.20% cut across the states and regional, and did not reflect the current expenditure. In view of the foregoing, the committee recommends as follows: that the revenue profile for the Commission for the year 2016 be sustained as follows. Revenue brought forward 9.964 billion. B. Federal government contribution 41 billion and 50 million naira. Federal government contribution, that is unpaid arrears by the federal government, 0. Oil companies contributions and others 180 billion naira. Ecological funds contribution 10 billion. Other internally realized income 100 million naira. Total 241 billion 140 million naira only. The committee considered the recurrent estimates and internal capital estimates, and consequently recommends the following as the expenditure profile. Personnel expenditure 17. Personnel expenditure 17.560 518,930 billion. Overhead costs 9.98 billion naira. Internal capital expenditure 1,300 million naira. Development projects 212,274.00 billion naira. Total expenditure 214,114 billion naira. 241. So. Prayers that the Senate do consider and approve the budget proposal for the Niger Delta Development Commission in the sum of 241,114.00 billion naira only, as recommended by the committee. Yes,
Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President and my distinguished colleagues, may I now move that the Senate do resolve into the Committee of Supply to consider the report.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to second the motion that the Senate do resolve into a committee of 4 to consider this report.
Those in favor that the Senate do resolve in Committee of Supply to consider this report, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it.
Let me take this to the Aberian. I'm doing something.
Distinguished colleagues, any comments before we go to the body line by line? Senator Poker.
Mr. President, dear colleagues, Senator Poker Emmanuel is my name by Elsa Central. First and foremost, I have to sincerely thank the committee for doing a very good job within this short space of time, and urge my colleagues to see into the bill, because we're on the 6th month of the year, and Niger Delta is yearning for development. I haven't made this key comment, Mr. President, dear colleague. I just want to highlight just one single point. The issue of the non-remittance of the federal government back loan, which is statutory. Mr. President, is not the one reflected on this bill alone, but it's an annual event that the amount due to federal government is not being fully remitted almost every year. And if you look into details, the federal government over the years have forced owed the Niger Delta Development Commission billions of naira. My plea is that the federal government should lead up to a bidding by remitting what is statutorily due today. Having made this comment, Mr. President, dear colleagues, I'll just urge my colleagues to strenuously consider this bill, financial bill before us, because as we speak, today is 23rd June, so that the Commission can commence the implementation of the project earmarked for the year 2016. This comment, I take my seat and urge my colleague to do it. Thank you, Mr. President.
Comrade Senator Shehu Sani, representing Kaduna Central. Well, Mr. President, I have gone through this report and I think they have done a good job. But it also reflects the controversies and the crisis that attended the last budget. But I must say that we must take this report very seriously. The Niger Delta, as long as oil remains the dominant economic factor in the country, it is the engine room of Nigeria's economy. And the crisis that we face today as a nation, with persons who take up laws into their hands, blowing up pipelines, I think this is the best approach to it. We must do everything possible to make sacrifices for peace, but we must not in any way surrender to violence. And I believe that this budget from the Niger Delta, if it is very much taken into good consideration, it may be able to address some of the basic issues which the people from that restive area have always been raising. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, my name is John Owen of Cross River Central. Mr. Chairman, on page 3 of the report, item IV, where there is the Senate, the House of Reps, and management decided they jointly agreed to increase the revenue profile of oil companies. And then if you look at number 4, page 4, under revenue, there is so much that is expected from oil companies' contribution. And unless that is realized, then this budget will almost be like unworkable. So I'd just like to have some clarification that the decision to increase the revenue from, for oil companies was also something that also carried the oil companies themselves. I mean, what is the basis? I mean, just some, so that we're actually sure of the 180 billion that is here. Otherwise, I mean, I think that I also commend, like others, how quickly this report has come and this budget for passage. Thank you.
The chairman of the committee, you want to comment on that?
I can. Well, Your Excellency, the Senate President, and the chairman and colleagues, that's a very good question, and I want to thank my brother for asking this question. As you may recall that there was a referral to the committee to do a holistic investigation into the activities of NDDC. In the course of our investigation, we discovered that most of the oil companies were not remitting what they were supposed to remit. 2, we discovered that they were not prepared and have not been giving the NDDC their annual budget, from where you can calculate the 3% of the annual budget as provided in the law for as revenues for them. They all withheld their budgets, and whatever they like,
they give to the NDDC as their remittance to the NDDC. So in the course of that, the committee now invited the oil companies, and using the instrumentality of our powers, we were able to obtain the budget estimates and the budgets of all the oil companies from the year 2000 to date. And we have now asked the NDDC to go and calculate what their entitlements are from the year 2000, the shortfall of the return from the oil companies. And so we are calculating on both what they are going to pay now and what we are getting. And I would like to inform the Senate that it's already yielding a very good result.
Senator Matthew Urugide.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Mr. President, my name is Senator Matthew Urugide. I represent Edo South Central District from Edo State. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, after the presentation that was made by the chairman of this committee, I think it is important at this point to give further information on the expectation, particularly about the revenue profile of the Commission, for this year. And it is important that we get reminded that this is a Commission, that is having an interventionist, program in Niger Delta. The main source of revenue for this Commission, or the sources of revenue, the federal government itself, that is contributing about 41 billion. It is known to us that even this amount of money the federal government is contributing, they have a backlog of over 800 billion that they owe this Commission. But I think this modest calculation of 41 billion, which of course was reflected in this year's budget, being what the federal government made available to this Commission, I think this committee too has modestly included that. And then of course, it is important at this time to mention the shortfall that has accrued to this Commission over the years, particularly from the oil companies, that are involved, in various activities in Niger Delta. These companies have never made their budget up to this time. All the disclosures about their budget told to the Commission. We know that by their own act, they are supposed to contribute 3% of their annual budget. But they were not making these disclosures to the NDDC. And again, I think the Commission itself has lacked in the full discharge of its responsibilities by presenting the proper demand notes on these oil companies that are involved in the various activities, within the region. But I think at this time, since they too have been called to order, that is the Commission itself, it behoves on them now to ensure that all the accruables to them, from the oil companies and of course even the gas companies in the region, that they get their due entitlement to be able to meet the full operation of this budget this year. And I want to say to Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the other area of revenue for this Commission, which is supposed to be the 50% of all the budget for ecological fund for the Niger Delta region, up to this moment, they have not been making their contribution. And we know it that the ecological funds is being mediated from the office of the Accountant General of the Federation. But now that they have all been called to order, we just hope that what we are going to pass today for this Commission is going to be a budget that is different from all others, because they have to give a full account of what this Senate is going to approve for them now. And I believe that if they are able to get what they are to get from the Ecological Fund Office, they are able to get what they are supposed to, which is 50% of what goes to the 9 states that make up the Niger Delta region. And then of course the 3% that of annual budget of all the oil companies that are involved in the upstream activities in Niger Delta. And then the federal government is able to meet all of their own obligations. I believe we'll be able to operate this budget. And you will note too that from the narration given by the chairman of this committee, 260 billion was what was presented.
And of course, that was what was given to this House, and that was what was referred to the committee. But the committee now has discounted it because what was supposed to come from the federal government is short. And because it is short, by that amount, I believe the adjustment was made by this committee, most modestly for 241 billion. And I think this budget is just right, for approval. Thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you, distinguished colleagues.
We're actually going into second reading where we're now meant to be considering. So let's go to page 5. Page 5, we start from the schedules on page 5. Schedule 1, which is the recurrent expenditure, personnel and overhead cost. The chairman's office, that the sum of 248 million, 248 million 227,904.88 should stand part of this schedule. Those under the head of chairman's office, those in support say aye, those against say nay. The ayes have it. Managing Director's office, that the sum of 727,084,112.55 should stand part of the schedule. Those in support say aye, those against say nay. The ayes have it. The Executive Director's Finance and Administrator's office, that the sum of 430,692,822.79 stand part of the schedule. Those in support say aye, those against say nay. The ayes have it. Corporate Affairs Department. So the Executive Director of Projects Office, 451,866,708.114 should stand part of the schedule. Those in support say aye, those against say nay. The ayes have it. Corporate Affairs Department, that the sum of 690,561,681.04 should stand part of the schedule. Those in support say aye, those against say nay. The ayes have it. Internal Audit Department, that the sum of 285,068,535 naira spot 92. Those in favor that this should stand part of the schedule say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Security Department, that the sum of 677,825,887 naira spot 66 should stand part of the schedule. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Public Procurement, that the sum of 169,802,102 naira 88 kobo should stand part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Directorate of Legal Services, that the sum of 1,095,963,399 naira for 38 kobo should stand part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Directorate of Projects Monitoring and Supervision, that the sum of 598,039,544 naira for 62 kobo should stand part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Directorate of Finance and Supply, that the sum of 788,026,247 naira spot 84 kobo should stand part of the schedule. Those in support say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The Directorate of Administration and Human Resources, that the sum of 1,985,880,753 naira spot 66 should stand part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Nay. The ayes have it. Directorate of Planning, Research, Statistics and MIS, those 620,907,081 naira spot 56. Those in favor that this should stand part of the schedule say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Directorate of Agriculture and Fisheries, 295,183,445 naira spot 84. Those in favor that this should stand part of the schedule say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Directorate of Environmental Protection and Control, that the sum of 343,290,230 naira 7 kobo to stand part of the schedule. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Directorate of Education, Health and Social Services, that the sum of 366,219,059 naira for 68 kobo should stand part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Directorate of Community and Rural Development, that the sum of 425,395,232 naira for 54 should stand as part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Directorate of Utility Infrastructure Development and Waterways, 609,889,445 kobo. Those in favor that should stand part of the schedule say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Directorate of Commercial and Industrial Development, that 247,258,040 naira and 1 kobo should stand part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Directorate of Youth, Women's Sports and Culture, that the sum of 232,992,439 naira 51 kobo should stand part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Design Department, that the sum of 108,711,000 should stand part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Project Management Department, that the sum of 231,668,640 naira should stand part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Information Technology Department, that the sum of 67,821,000 should stand part of the schedule. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Public-private partnership, that the sum of 126,263,620 naira. Those in favor that stands part of the schedule say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Servicom, that the sum of 37,749,767 naira should stand as part of the schedule. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Headquarters, that the sum of 3,368,912,880 naira should stand part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Abuja Liaison Office, that the sum of 398,681,352 naira 68 kobo should stand as part of the schedule. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Abia State Office, that the sum of 495,194,793 naira 42 kobo should stand part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Akwa Ibom State Office, that the sum of 671,813,677 naira 94 kobo should stand as part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Bayelsa State Office, that the sum of 659,040,503 naira for 56 kobo should stand as part of the schedule. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Cross River State Office, that the sum of 519,046,520 naira 14 kobo should stand as part of the schedule. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Delta State Office, that the sum of 803,551,203 naira 39 kobo should stand as part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Edo State Office, that the sum of 440,005,000 naira 510 naira 37 kobo should stand part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Imo State Office, that the sum of 467,765,062 naira and 8 kobo should stand part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Ondo State Office, that the sum of 557,574,834 naira 22 kobo. Those in favor that stands part of the schedule say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Rivers State Office, that the sum of 819,191,131 naira 96 kobo should stand part of the schedule. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Aid to regional board members, that the sum of 451,466,680 naira and 89 kobo should stand part of the schedule. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Security personnel yet to be deployed, sum of 208,184,780 naira 98 kobo. Those in support that stands part of the schedule say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. (22.5% contributory pension), the sum of 2,631,803 naira 171 naira for 77 kobo should stand part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Pension past service liabilities, the sum of 494,519,860 naira should stand part of the schedule. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Staff Group Staff Assurance Scheme, 240 million. Those in favor that stands part of the schedule say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Staff Welfare, 600 billion. Those in support that stands part of the schedule say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Combined Workmen Compensation Group Personal Accident, 260 million. Those in favor that stands part of the bill say aye. As part of the schedule say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Decentralization transfer entitlements, 186,650,598 naira 25 kobo. Those in favor that stands part of the schedule say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Severance benefits, 587,942,314 naira 3 kobo. Those in favor that stands part of the schedule say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Human Resources Services Employee Relation, 96,900,000. Those in favor that stands part of the schedule say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. National Health Insurance Scheme, those 622,800,000. Those in favor that stands part of the schedule say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Recruitment Services, Other Sensitization, Induction, Orientation, etc., 108 million. Those in favor that stands part of the schedule say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Actual Evaluation, 30 million. Those in favor that stands part of the schedule say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The total of personal and overhead expenses, 27,540,518,930 naira. Those in favor that stands part of the schedule say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Distinguished colleagues, the next schedule, which is on page 12, is the internal capital expenditure, Schedule B. Chairman's office, those in favor are the sum of 22,985,000. Internal capital expenditure, Schedule B. Chairman's office, the Managing Director's office, the Executive Director of Finance and Administration office, the Executive Director of Projects office, Corporate Affairs Department, Internal Audit Department, Security Department, Public Procurement Unit, Information Department, Public-Private Partnership, Design, Project Management, Servicom, Director of Legal Services, Director of Project Monitoring and Supervision, Director of Finance and Supply, Director of Administration and Human Resources, Directorate of Planning, Research and Statistics and MIS, Directorate of Agriculture and Fishery, Director of Environmental Protection and Control, Directorate of Education, Health and Social Services, Directorate of Community and Rural Development, Directorate of Utilities, Infrastructure, Development and Waterways, Directorate of Commercial and Industrial Development, Directorate of Youth, Women, Sports and Culture, Headquarters, Abuja Liaison Office, Abia State Office, Akwa Ibom State Office, Bayelsa State Office, Cross River State Office, Delta State Office, Edo State Office, Igbo State Office, Ondo State Office, River State Office. Total sum of 1,300,000,000 should stand as part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The single sentences will now go to the next schedule, which is on page 15, which is a project development expenditure. One, Head Office Regional Projects, Abia State, Akwa Ibom State, Bayelsa State, Cross River State, Delta State, Edo State, Imo State, Ondo State, River State, a total sum of 212,273,481,070 naira should stand as part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The grand total 241,114,000,000. Those in favor that the grand total of 241,114,000,000 stands part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
Mr. President and my distinguished colleagues, I now move that the Senate will revert into plenary to report progress.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to second the motion that the Senate do revert to plenary to report progress.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor that the Senate reverts back to plenary report progress say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Distinguished colleagues, the Senate in the Committee of Supply considered the 2016 budget estimate of the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, and resolved as follows. Schedule A, recurrent expenditure, personnel and overhead cost as recommended. Schedule B, internal capital expenditure as recommended. Schedule C, reports development expenditure as recommended. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of Supply? Distinguished colleagues and chairman of the Niger Delta, members of the Niger Delta Committee, I think the observations that were passed to ensure that these budgets as passed are properly monitored to ensure proper utilization and benefit of the expenditure for the Niger Delta area, and particularly as regards ensuring that those who are expected to contribute to the revenue lines in ensuring that the Niger Delta Commission can function properly are held accountable to ensure that that is done, so that this can be properly monitored. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President.
Now, you cannot decide what is next. You must flow with the reading. Even you.
Mr. President and my distinguished colleagues, just to seek the indulgence of my colleagues, there is a little bit mix-up on the other paper, but the next business of the day is presentation of the FCT 2016 budget. Mr. President will like to invite the single Senator Dino Malai to lead the report.
Senator Dino Malai.
Mr. President, my colleagues, my name is Dino Melaye, Kogi West Senatorial District. Mr. President, my colleagues, this is the report of the Federal Capital Territory FCT Statutory Appropriation Bill 2016. May I, Mr. President, move that this report be laid.
Senator Philip Adula.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. I rise to second the motion moved by the chairman of the Committee on the Federal Capital Territory that the FCT 2016 Statutory Appropriation Act be laid on the table. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor that the Senate do receive the report of the Committee on the FCT, those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. There is a Senator Dino, come and lay the report. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President and my distinguished colleagues, the 12th business of the day is presentation of the report of the Committee on Public Accounts on the report of the Auditor General for the Federation on the audited account of 5 parastatals of Federal Government of Nigeria. Mr. President, you may wish to invite Senator Andy Uba, Chairman of the committee, to move the motion for the receipt.
Senator Andy Uba.
Mr. President, most distinguished colleagues, my name is Senator Andy Uba, representing Anambra South Senatorial Zone. Mr. President, I would like my name corrected in this. It's not, my last name is not UBAH. It is UBA. I would like it to be on record.
Your mic.
Mr. President, most distinguished colleagues, my name is Senator Andy Uba, UBA, and not UBAH. I would like it corrected, please. Mr. President, I move that the Senate do receive the report of the Committee on Public Accounts on report of the Auditor General for the Federation on the audited account of the 5 parastatals of the Federal Government of Nigeria. I so move.
Senator Lanete Joshua.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, my name is Senator Lanete Joshua, representing Ogun Central, Ogun State. I rise to second the motion that the Senate do receive the report of the Committee on Public Accounts on report of the Auditor General for the Federation and on the audited account of 5 parastatals of Federal Government of Nigeria. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor that the Senate do receive the report of the Committee on Public Account on report of the Auditor General for the Federation on the audited account of 5 parastatals of Federal Government of Nigeria. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Senator Andy Uba, come and lead the report. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President and my distinguished colleagues, I move that we suspend the 13th order of the day and the 14th order of the day to the next legislative day.
Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise to second the motion as moved by the leader.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor that the suspend item 30, is it 13 and 14, is it, or 12 and 13? Huh? 12 and 13? The items 12 and 13 on other paper should step down another legislative day. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President and my distinguished colleagues, the first order of the day is presentation and consideration of the report of the Committee on Tertiary Institutions and Third Fund on the Federal University of Petroleum Resources Ephraim Bill 2016. Distinguished senators will recall that the report of the committee was laid on Tuesday, 14 June 2016. Mr. President, you may wish to invite Senator Binta Masi Garba to make the motion for the presentation and consideration of the report.
Senator Binta Masi.
Now, Binta Masi Garba, Adamawa North Senatorial Zone, Adamawa State. That the Senate do consider the report on the Committee on Tertiary Institution and Third Fund on the Federal University of Petroleum Resources Info Establishment Bill 2016, SB 226. I so move.
Senator Stella Odua.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. President, my name is Stella Odua. I represent Anambra North. I stand to second the motion raised by distinguished Senator Binta I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor that the Senate do consider the report of the Committee on Tertiary Institution and Tech Fund on the Federal University of Petroleum Resources Offering Establishment, etc. Bill 2016 SB 226. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Senator Bintamasi.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. Mr. President, you may wish to recall that the Senate at its sitting on Tuesday, the 18th April 2016, referred the above bill to the committee for further legislative input. Consequently, the committee held a public hearing on Tuesday, the 17th May 2016 to get public and stakeholders' input. Therefore, the committee went on a facility visit to the campus of the university in Efuru, Delta State, on the 20th to the 21st May 2016. The university was established since March 2007 to meet the yearning of the Nigerian state and the immediate community in training professional engineers and scientists with the technical know-how to drive the petroleum industry. You may wish to know that the university is fully operational, but without enabling law. Also, it is the first of its kind in Africa and sixth in the world. The status shall make it a highly demanding institution in the provision of technological education in Nigeria and Africa. The contribution of the public and stakeholders assisted the committee in arriving at the following positions. The bill, as in the introduction, an act to provide for the establishment of the Federal University of Petroleum Resources, Infuru, and other related matters, 2016, SB 226, is an executive bill seeking to give legal backing to the Federal University of Petroleum Resources, Infuru, Delta State. We have about 16 membership in the committee. The committee's consideration of the report and 2.1, the methodology. The committee made a clause-by-clause analysis of the provision in comparison with the provision of other acts establishing existing university, especially as it affects specialized institutions. You may wish to know that the university is already operational without enabling law, though the bill was passed in the 7th Senate, but it was not assented to. It is expedient, therefore, to pass this bill in order to give the university legal foundation. The findings. The committee notes that the structure of the bill was in line with the law establishing other university. However, in order to expand the academic coverage and funding channels of the institutions, the committee made the following recommendation. 3.0 Committee Recommendation. The committee recommends that Section 1 to Section 26 should be retained as in the bill, except for Section 1, Subsection 4 should be altered to read thus. The university shall be supervised by the Ministry of Education with the following responsibilities. A. The Federal Ministry of University through the National University Commission shall be responsible for approving, regulating all academic programs run in the university to ensure quality, compliance, and provide funds for academic and research program infrastructures and remunerations of employees. B. The Federal Ministry of Petroleum Resources, Petroleum Technology Development Fund, the PTDF, and Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Bill shall provide 2% of their annual budget for research program in petroleum technology acquisitions and research facility. Section 3.1 A should be altered by inserting the phrase "and alter areas at issue read thus." To offer courses of instructions, training, and research in petroleum technologies and allied areas for the production of middle and high-level manpower and other skilled personnel required to run the oil and gas industry in Nigeria in particular and the world at large. Section 5.1a should be altered by removing the phrase chairman and replacing petroleum resources with education, and thus read: the Pro-Chancellor who shall be representative of the Honorable Minister of Education. Section 5.1e is altered by removing the phrase by the National Council of Ministers and will thus read: four-person representing a variety of interests and broadly represented of the following federation to be appointed from. Section 5.1e, Roman figure 3, should be altered to read: two other persons, one of whom shall be a representative of the university host community. Section 9.1h should be expunged so that Section 1 will become the new H and J becomes I, and a new phrase is then inserted as J. Interest of investment, I, donations and legacies accruing to the university from any source for the general or special purpose of the university. J, annually, TechFund shall give to the university a special project in oil and gas infrastructure in addition to regular normal intervention. Section 9.2 should be altered to read: the Federal Ministry of Petroleum Resources shall ensure that special funding is made available to the university on an annual basis as follows. The oil and gas companies operating in Nigeria shall also contribute 0.5% of gross profit to the academic and infrastructural development of the university. The Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board shall contribute at least 2% of its gross revenue for the research and development of materials, processes, equipment, and systems for local content realizations of the petroleum industry by the university. D, the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation shall provide the equivalent of the annual personnel cost of the university as oil industry incentive allowances to staff of the university. Section 24 should be altered by inserting 24 subsection 10, which reads: subsection 10, all oil and allied companies working in Nigeria shall make their facility available for research purposes on demand. Section 3.1, subsection 5 is altered by insertion of the phrase "and units" to read heads of academic departments and units. In conclusion, the committee recommends that the Senate do approve the above recommendation. The passage of the bill into law will facilitate the provision of an enabling law for the university. The committee expresses profound gratitude to the entire Senate for the opportunity it has given to provide the legal backing of the university.
I think it's a very straightforward bill. There are no comment. Let us go through, take it clause by clause. Leader of the Senate, you move forward to go into committee of the whole.
Mr. President and my distinguished colleague, I now move that the Senate do resolve into the committee of the whole to consider the report.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to second the motion. The Senate do resolve into a committee of the whole to consider this report. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor that the Senate do resolve to committee of the whole consider the report, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. All right, distinguished colleagues, we go straight to the bill and consider clause by clause. 26 clauses there. We'll start with clause 1. Clause 1. Yeah, we have clause 1, which is clause 1 to 5. Well, let's take clause 1 to 3. Clause 1 to 3. That's clause 1, 1, 2, 1, 3. Those in favor of that clause 1, 2, 1, 3 should stand as part of this, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 114. Which is being amended there. Those in favor of clause 114. As I mentioned, stand part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 1.5 should stand as part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Those in favor of that clause 2 should stand part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 3.1a. Those in favor of that clause 3.1a as recommended should stand part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. That's clause 4. All right, we're on page 5 now, and we'll now go to still on page 5. We've just taken page 3.1a. We go to 3.1b, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. Yeah. That is true. Is that Senator Binta? There are 2 B's on page 5. Is that just a numbering error? That's it.
The committee altered this section by inserting the phrase and outline areas, and you should read those. A, to offer courses of instructions, training, and research. There's no B there, so I think what we concentrated on was 3A, 1A. not 1A and B. I think it's an error.
There are 2 Bs, 1A and B.
It's 3. No. It's committee recommendation.
It is the recommendation that we have taken, which is now 3.1a. So we go to 3.1b. So clauses 3.1b to 3.1q to 3.1q. Yeah, those in favor that clause 3.1b to 3.1q stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. No. It's been corrected. Clause there are 2 B's if you are still taking the original bill, but 3.1a has replaced the A and B in the original bill. Okay, so yes, you are right. So in that case, the Secretariat should take note of that and make the necessary numbering amendment. Yeah. Clause 3.2 and clause 3.3. Those in favor that clause 3.2 and 3.3 stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 4, functions of the Chancellor and Pro-Chancellor. Those in favor that clause 4 should stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 5, composition, tenure and powers of the Council of the University. Clause 5.1a. Those in favor that the recommendation 5.1a should stand part of the bill say aye.
Senate President, distinguished senators, if you look at clause 5, and the amendment there is saying that the Pro-Chancellor shall be the representative of the Honorable Minister of Education. I think that is not normal. It's a misnomer for a Pro-Chancellor to be a representative of the Honorable Minister. I don't think, we know that a member of the representative of the Minister could be a member of the Council, but not to be the Pro-Chancellor. It's abnormal.
Chairman, Senator Bintamasi, if you look at the recommendation is also suggesting that, isn't it? The recommendation is saying, committee recommendation, section 5.1a is altered by removing the phrase "and chairman" and replacing petroleum resources with education. And with us read, the Pro-Chancellor who shall be representative of the Honorable Minister of Education. So this is the point that Senator Mawaban is objecting to. Can you throw light here, Senator Bintamasi?
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Chairman, if you look at the original bill, the Pro-Chancellor and Chairman shall be representative of the Honorable Minister of Petroleum Resources. And we now said it should be reversed to set representative of the Minister of Education. Section. Okay, sorry. Can I? Yes. The Council of the University shall consist of A, the Pro-Chancellor and Chairman, who shall be representative of the Honorable Minister of Petroleum Resources. What we altered was the Minister of Education, not Petroleum Resources. Because while we said it shouldn't be the Minister of Petroleum Resources, we wanted the Ministry of Education to be the custodian of the University of Petroleum Resources as a regulatory agency. But if you look at the original bill, that's what I'm saying. We look at the original bill when we make the retain.
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman.
Senator Massey, I think the question, if I'm getting Senator Moore right, he's saying that why must the Pro-Chancellor be a representative of minister, whether the Minister of Education or the Minister of Petroleum. So if anybody else want to contribute, educate us, why, Professor there.
I think, Mr. Chairman, sir, this is a federal university, a built very special university. What should apply is the same rule that applies to every other federal university in the Republic. That is, what is the status of the Pro-Chancellor? And I think even the semantic here is just a matter of who appoints rather than who represents. Previously, it was thinking that it should be the Minister of Petroleum who should appoint. Now the thought is that it should be Minister of Education. We agree. But beyond that, we need to find out what is the relevant section for every other federal university. And it should be the same in this case. That's all. But before I sit down, sir, also, you look at on that same section.
You've only put the question to us, but you've not given us an answer. I thought you, with your vast experience and knowledge, you were able to tell us exactly what applies in other universities. Is it the Minister of Education that appoints the Pro-Chancellor, or is he a representative? Because we need to address that before we move to the...
Is the President.
Senator Abdullahi, encyclopedia on matters to do with administration and education.
The Pro-Chancellor is the Chairman of Council, and he's appointed by the President on the recommendation of the Minister of Education. Yes. That's the issue. So for all the laws, for all the statutes, in all the universities, all the federal universities, that's what you will find. So I think that this should not be different from what obtains in other places. He is the Chairman of Council, so even removing that chairmanship, chairman is not correct. The Pro-Chancellor is Chairman of Council, who is appointed by the President on the advice of the Minister of Education.
And he's representing the Minister.
Distinguished colleagues, I think there's some clarity here. I think the clarity we have that the Pro-Chancellor, who shall be appointed by the President on the recommendation of the Honourable Minister of Education, do we agree? Do we agree with that wording then? So we agree that we will replace it to say that the Pro-Chancellor and the Chairman of Council shall be appointed by the President on the recommendation of the Honourable Minister of Education. Yes. So let me put the question that clause 351A as amended now to read that the Pro-Chancellor and Chairman of Council shall be appointed by the President on the recommendation of the Honourable Minister of Education. Those in favour that stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Yeah, I'll take your...
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. If we look at the language used in the amendment for section 5A, 51E, and 51E, we see the word altered repeatedly. We can alter the Constitution, but in correct legislative lexicon, it should be amended. So I would suggest that we change the word altered in each case to amended. not altered. Thank you.
So we carry on. We now go to 51B to H. No, sorry, you left it because 51E is different. 51B, C, D. Those in favor that 51B, C, D should stand as part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. 51E. Those in favor that 51E as recommended should stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. 51F, G, and H should stand part of the bill. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. (52) to 6. Those in favor that 52 to 6 should stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. We're now on page 10 now. Page 10, clause 6, functions of the council and its finance and general purpose committee. Those in favor that clause 6 should stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 7, functions of the Senate of the University. Those in favor that clause 7. Yeah. We're now on page 11, taking clause 7. Yeah.
Chairman, distinguished colleague, 51E. The original bill reads, it's 4 persons representing a variety of interests and broadly representative of the whole federation to be appointed by the National Council of Ministers from. Now, when you go to the committee recommendation, it states that 51E is altered by removing the phrase by the National Council of Ministers and does read, 4 persons representing a variety of interests and broadly representative of the whole federation to be appointed from where?
National Petroleum Corporation.
It's not explicit enough. This is not. From where? It's silent.
It's there. It's there. It's there. Next level is there.
It's there.
Okay.
It's there. It's clear.
Okay.
Yeah.
As I said, we're on page 11 now, clause 7. Your question? Those in favor that clause 7 should stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Page 14, clause 8, functions of the vice chancellor. Those in favor that clause 8 should stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 9, the general fund of the university.
Thank you very much. The committee recommendation J. Third fund shall give to the university a special project in oil and gas infrastructure in addition to regular normal interventions. Mr. and distinguished colleagues, third fund benefits 2% of the profits, and this is not something that is fixed. It will vary. Sometimes they could have funds in abundance, and sometimes their accounts will be very lean. I think we don't have to make it mandatory that they make that provision. And in any case, we have even limited third fund
to how they support the projects in the university by saying a special project. I think they can even do more than one, when there is abundance. But I think it's too restrictive and could make it very difficult for them when they will have no fund, when we use the word shall. Thank you.
Senator Mao Waban.
Mr. President, distinguished Senator Mao Waban, I think the committee's recommendation is in order. What they are saying is that TED Fund shall give to the university a special project in oil and gas infrastructure in addition to the normal annual interventions. So it's only in the oil and gas infrastructure when the need arises, when they have it. So it has nothing to do with the normal intervention of TED Fund. So I think the recommendation is in order. Sorry.
My question is, Senator Binta can just should that be part of a law? Because the issue is that the things are very dynamic and things change from time to time. That sounds to me more of a policy than something to be entrenched in law. Educate me. Senator Abdullah Yaya, back again to our encyclopedia. Please educate us.
No, Mr. Chairman, you have really hit the nail right at the head. Because circumstances of universities change. And the circumstances of all of these things. So as much as possible, we should limit ourselves to those generic issues that affect the university, not to mention specific issues, because those issues are matters of policy. They are not issues that deal with institution of a university as an institution under the law.
But it's very administrative, and I think that we let us. Chief.
I think you are correct. And what is even more dangerous is when you say A means one. And what he is saying is, suppose there is a need for 3 or 4 or 5 or 6, and if the money is available. But this law has said A anywhere in the world in English means one. Therefore, we are saying keep it flexible so that if there is more money, you can give more.
I think let's make progress. We'll put the question so that we can make progress. I think the debate is very clear. I think it just depends on let's make progress. Let's put the question. Section 1. So there's only one amendment, which is that Amendment J. So I'll put the question. Those in favor that 391J stands part of the bill as proposed by the committee, say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. I don't think, maybe you didn't hear, let me put the question again. Those in favor that 91J stands part of the bill, say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. Okay, the ayes have it. So, yeah, then, so that's section 9.1. So let me also, because that's the amendment, so section 9.1A to section 9.1A, B, C, D, E, F should stand part of the bill. Say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. And then section 8 should have been the new. I will now be the new H. And J becomes the new I. And those in favor that stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Section 9, clause 9.2. Those in favor that clause 9.2 as recommended stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Yeah. We passed 9B. Not yet in P16. We're now, we've just passed clause 9.2. Okay, that which is 9.2 A to D. Okay, are you want to come up on 9.2C? I guess that's it. 2C. 9.2B. Okay, let's hear it.
Mr. Chairman, I believe that the committee recommendation, it said the oil and gas companies operating in Nigeria shall also contribute 0.5% of gross profit for the academic and infrastructure development of the university. So how do they determine the gross profit? Why most of these companies are not contributing is because the percentage increase that we want them to contribute is always too high. And I believe this half of their gross profit is also too high for them to contribute. So if it is pegged down to the minimum level that they can contribute, you see that the company will contribute this money to the university.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. The danger of imposing contribution by way of percentage to companies is that it is a technical tax, and that becomes an additional tax burden, because when the word shall is used, it means it's a percentage that must be paid, and it becomes taxation. And it will not be convenient for this Senate to sit and impose tax in addition to the legislation it has already done imposing taxation on these companies. That will amount to double taxation. Multiple taxation. So I think that has a very serious effect and implication on inflow of investment into the country.
Senator Binta, can you educate us? Why did the committee turn down the original, what was in the original bill, which is pretty easier to manage than what you are recommending? What you are recommending looks very, very complicated.
So if you want to go to the best practice in the world, when we talked about best practice globally, petroleum universities in the world are being supported and funded by oil and gas industries. And what we're saying is that if we want to have a specialized university on oil and gas, and you have companies that are saddled with that responsibility, their gross profit of 0.05% should be given to the university, maybe in kind or in cash, so that it could, and if we go through, we talked about research and development and infrastructures, and sometimes to allow the undergraduate students to go into such organization for research, and this, so it's not a matter of taxation, it's a matter of them being involved in the university, sir. So it is a best practice in the world. So it's not double taxation, because we just finished NDDC, sir, and there are some certain contributions that oil and gas companies or industries contribute to NDDC.
Thank you very much. I try to run away from being too technical. I am a taxation lawyer, sir. In the computation of taxes by companies, there is what is referred to as allowable deductions. And these have been defined to mean all expenses wholly, exclusively, necessarily, unreasonably so incurred. Look at the catchy words there. All expenses wholly, exclusively, necessarily, unreasonably so incurred. So this type of deductions cannot fall into any of this for the purpose of computation. And whether we like it or not, no amount of rigmarole will take it away from being an imposition, because certain amount must be paid in percentage. And if it's a law, you have already stated that. So it cannot be, it's taxation, sir. We cannot here sit down and impose tax on companies. What is normally the norm is that the university will encourage funding of research by this company. That is what is normal. Yes. Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Senator Rashadra.
Mr. Chairman, sir, some of my colleagues, especially the deputy leader, had spoken very well about how taxes are computed. These oil companies are already complaining about multiple tax, and it's affecting their operations already. And if you look at the cost of production of a barrel of oil, in Nigeria, is about the highest in the whole world. And if you add this 0.5% again, you are giving them the latitude to up, the cost of production. And at the end of the day, it is the country that will suffer. And it will definitely drive away investment in the oil sector. So we should avoid this one like a plague. Thank you, sir.
I think the general opinion here is that let us delete the commitment recommendation and stick to the original bill. Those in favor that 9.2 as in the original bill stands part of the bill, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. 9. Nine 9192. There's no D anymore because we've gone to the original bill. Yeah. 993. Yeah, those in favor of 93 stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Now, what is this transfer of property? Is this 9? No, 10 is on page 17. What is this 223? Senator Binta. Senator Binta.
I think it's an error, sir.
Distinguished colleagues, I think the best thing is that transfer of property we can renumber as clause 10. So that is clause 10 then. Okay, observation, Senator Alashadra.
We have under 9.2c. It's not that's what I want to be clear of. Okay, everything there.
Guide us, Senator Binta. Can we say transfer of property now is now clause 10? Yes? Okay, so those in favor of clause 10 as amended stands part of the bill, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 11, condition of service of employees. Those in favor of clause 11 as now numbered should stand part of the bill, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 12 on page 17, formerly clause 10, now clause 12. Those
the new clause 11. If you read it to the back of that page, up to page, from page 17, sir, they are still talking about PTDF. Okay, thank you.
Clause 12 on page 17 from 10. That is the power of the university to make statutes. Those in favor of clause 12 as amended should now stand part of the bill, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. No, the numbered. I'm talking about the numbered. The numbering. Clause 13. Those in favor of that clause 13, mode of exercising power to make statutes. Clause 13 starts from page 18 and goes on to page 20. Those in favor of that clause 13 stands part of the bills, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 14, proof of statute. Those in favor of clause 14 should stand part of the bill, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 15, the visitor. Those in favor that clause 15 stands part of the bill, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 16, removal of certain members of council. Those in favor that clause 16 stands part of the bill, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Let me slow a bit. Clause 17. The question? Those in favor that clause 17 stands part of the bill, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. We're now on page 23. Those in favor of clause 18, removal of examiners. Removal of examiners, clause 18, stands part of the bill, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 19, participation and discipline of students. Those in favor of clause 19 stands part of the bill, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 20, exclusion of discrimination on account of race, religion, etc. Those in favor that clause 20 be retained and stand part of the bill, say aye. Oh, yep. Leader.
Mr. President and my distinguished colleagues, the clause 16 is an unnecessary reminder of truth, sir, in view of the provision of the Constitution that prohibits discrimination on grounds of sex, religion, and other things. Clause 20, sorry. What page are you on now?
You're on page 25, clause 20. You have renumbered it.
Okay, renumbered, okay, yeah.
We're now on page 26, clause 21, restriction on disposal of land by university. Those in favor of clause 21 should stand part of the bill, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 22, quorum and procedure of bodies established by this bill. Those in favor that clause 22 should stand part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 23, appointment of committee, etc. Appointment of committees, etc. Let me give time for. Yeah, Chief Whip.
Yeah, it says any body of persons. Should be 2 words. Any, separate from body. Say it again. Yeah. No, you say anybody of persons. No, I'm saying that the word anybody is 1 word, but that's not what is meant here. It's an error. It should be any space body, 2 separate words. Syntax.
Look,
This is professorial approach.
Clause 23. Those in favor that clause 23 stand part of the bill, say aye. As amended. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 23 as amended. Clause 24, retiring age of academic staff. Those in favor that clause 24 stands part of the bill, say aye. 24 on page 27. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. We're now on page 28. Clause 25, specific provisions relating to pensions of professors. Prof, this might be.
I plead the 5th.
Those in favor of the clause 25 stands part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 26. Yeah, that's why I'm giving you time to read it. And comment on that. Yeah, Senator Shadra.
The amendment on page 29, section 24 is altered, amended by insertion of 2410, which reads, all oil and allied companies working in Nigeria shall make their facilities available for research purposes on demand. I don't think that should come, sir. We cannot compare, people by legislation to do what we are saying. Compare, you cannot compare. We cannot compare them to do it.
I think this is true. I don't see the word compare. When everybody has contrary view, Senator Amela.
Mr. Chairman, I completely agree with the position of Senator Olashidura. It's not supposed to be like that because universities are supposed to develop relationships with other bodies. And the best approach is to develop a relationship and seek for support. Not to say by law, you just have to open your doors whether you like it or not. I think it doesn't work out that way.
Anywhere in the world.
Yes, thank you.
Distinguished colleagues, I don't think we should, I think this is a pretty straightforward matter. So if I'll put the question is, those in favor that clause 26 as in the original bill should stand as part of the, clause 26. That is clause 26, 1 to 9. Let me put the clause 26, 1 to 9 should stand part of the bill. You have anything wrong with 1 to 9? Huh? Let me take 1 to 9, then we can now, those in favor that clause 26, 1 to 9 stands part of the bill, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Then we now go to the controversial 10. The view of majorities that should be deleted. Should be deleted. This one. Okay. Let me put the question. Let me put the question. There's no explanation. Let me put the question so that we can make progress. I think there are two issues here. Is either those in favor that we should substitute the shall to may, those in favor that we should amend clause section, bring in a new section 2610, and all oil and other companies working in Nigeria may make their facility. Senator Mao.
We have things that the oil industries or companies operating within an area, they have social corporate responsibility. And the institution within that area too should develop the habit of forming a good relationship. And I believe that this should become an area of relationship, not making it a legislation, whether it's may or shall. It's immaterial. The point is that that section should be deleted. It should.
Let me say, Mr. President.
Chief Whip,
Mr. President, sir, I fully empathize with the rationale for wanting to insert this. But think about this. There are laws about intellectual property. There are patents. There are licensed research that every company protects. Whether it is in oil or in agriculture or in detergent. If Nigeria starts saying you must open your door to this, multinationals will see Nigeria as a country to run from. Let's make this a friendly atmosphere where you build relationships, and relationships work faster than this kind of draconian nationalist legislation. It is. They won't.
Distinguished colleagues, I don't think we honestly we have done 20-something clauses. One section. Let's put the question and make progress. Let me put the question. Unless you want to come and chair here, let me put the question. The question, section 2410. Those in favor that the 2410 be deleted, say aye. Aye. Those against, say nay. Nay. Deleted. Clause 27. Clause 27. Those in favor that clause 27 stands part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 28.
Yeah. Mr. President and my distinguished colleagues, may I move that the Senate suspend the relevant provision of our rules to enable us sit beyond 145, sir. I so move.
Mr. President, Mr. Chairman, distinguished colleagues, I rise to second the motion that we suspend our relevant rules to sit beyond 2 o'clock. I so second.
Those in favor that we suspend our rules so that we can stand beyond 2 o'clock, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 28. Those in favor that clause 28 stands part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Schedule 1, paragraphs 1 to 8.
Those in favor that paragraphs 1 to 8 stand part of paragraphs 1 to 8 stand part of Schedule 1, stand part of first schedule, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in favor. Senator Abdullah.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Chairman, the first schedule, item 2 there, 2.1, shall be the pro-chancellor who shall be chairman of council shall be appointed by the president on the recommendation of the Minister of Education. That reflects the earlier amendment that we did. It's page 32. The first schedule. After the chancellor, then the pro-chancellor. The pro-chancellor who shall be chairman of council shall be appointed by the president on the recommendation of the Minister of Education. Sorry, sir.
We have already taken care of that when we amended. Okay. All right. So 2.1, that the pro-chancellor who shall be chairman of council shall be appointed by the president upon the recommendation of the Minister of Education. Those in favor that 2.1 be part of the bill as amended, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. So let me go back and to paragraphs 3. I'll just give you a few more minutes, some time to go through. We're now on page 33 now. Paragraphs 3, paragraphs 4, paragraphs 3, that is the Vice Chancellor. Paragraph 4 is Deputy Vice Chancellor. Paragraph 5, Office of the Registrar. Paragraph 6, the other principal officers of the university. Paragraph 7 is the selection board for other principal officers. Paragraph 8 is the resignation and reappointment. If no judge, I'll put the question. Those in favor that paragraphs 3 to 8 stand part of the Schedule A, first schedule, should say aye, and those against say nay. The ayes have it. Second schedule, those in favor that paragraphs 1, transfer of property to university. There's no 2. What's the name of 2? Senator Binta, paragraph 2 in the second schedule, what is the naming of that paragraph 2? Okay, all right. So paragraph 1, transfer of property. Paragraph 2 is registration of transfers. Paragraph 3 is that transfer of functions, etc. And then, so those in favor that paragraphs 1 to 3 should stand part of second schedule, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Schedule 3. Schedule 3, that is paragraphs
1, the Council. Paragraph 2, the Finance and General Purposes Committee. I do not have the So in the meantime, which is this audit, you now jumped to paragraph 7. Is there something wrong there? The number, should that be 3? Instead of 7, I think that should be 3. Huh? Yeah. So paragraph 1, the Council. Paragraph 2, the Finance and General Purposes Committee. Paragraph 3 is audit. Paragraph 4, Paragraph 4 is Senate. Paragraph 5 is congregation. Paragraph 6 is convocation. Paragraph 7 is divisions of colleges. Paragraph 8 is college school boards. Paragraph 9 is dean of colleges. Paragraph 10 is departmental board of studies. Paragraph 11 is selection of directors of fiscal development, fiscal planning and development works and services and health. Paragraph 12 is tenure of directors. Paragraph 13 is creation of academic posts. And paragraph 14, appointment of academic staff. Paragraph 15, appointment of administrative and professional staff. Those in favor of those paragraphs 2 to 15 stands part of the Schedule 3. Say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Interpretation is paragraph 16 there. Those in favor that that stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Page 50. Page 32. For the short title now. Page 32 clause 29. Page 32 clause 29. The short title, this bill may be cited as the Federal University of Petroleum Resources Reform Bill 2016. Those in favor, the short title stands part of the bill, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Page 2, long title. Long title, an act to provide for the establishment of the Federal University of Petroleum Resources, Effluent, and other matters connected therewith. Those in favor of the long title, stand part of the bill, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
And finally, those in favor that the explanatory memorandum. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, Mr. Chairman, may I move that the Senate will revert into plenary to report progress. I so move.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to second the motion that the Senate do revert to plenary to report progress.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor that the Senate reverts to plenary report progress, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Thank you. Okay. Okay. Distinguished colleagues, the Senate in the Committee of the Whole consider the report of the committee. Distinguished colleagues, the Senate in the Committee will consider the report of the Committee on Tertiary Institutions and TED Fund on the Federal University of Petroleum Resources FM Bill 2016 and approved as follows. Clauses 1 to 4 as recommended, Clause 5 as amended, Clauses 6 to 8 as recommended, Clause 9 as amended, Clauses 10 to 20 as recommended, 21 to 22 as recommended, 23 as amended, 24 to 25 as recommended, 26 as amended, 27 to 28 as recommended, Schedule 1 as amended, Schedule 2 to 3 as recommended, Explanation Memorandum as recommended, Short title as recommended, Long title as recommended. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? Senate Leader.
Mr. President and my distinguished colleague, may I now move that the Federal University of Petroleum Resources Ifrum Bill 2016 be read the third time. I so move.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to second the motion that the bill be read a third time. I so second.
Those in favor? Yeah, those in favor that the bill be read the third time, say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of the Federal University of Petroleum Resources, FURO, and for other matters connected therewith, third reading.
A bill for an act to provide for the establishment of the Federal University of Petroleum Resources, FURO, and other matters connected therewith, 2016, third reading. The bill for an act to establish the Federal University of Petroleum Resources, FURO, and other matters 2016 is already the third time and passed. Distinguished colleagues, let me first of all thank Senator Oviomo Agege for this bill. And I think there's no gain saying the fact that this bill really goes in line with our talk about domestication and local content, because there's no way you can have local content if we do not domesticate the technology itself on the issue of petroleum sector. And I hope that this federal university would use this opportunity to improve on our capacity in the petroleum sector. It's an institution, first of its kind in Africa, and I think it's a great achievement that we've been able to do this, and I congratulate them, the committee as well, on tertiary, and all those that work together to get us to this point. I hope this institution will lay the foundation for us to truly begin to provide local content to development of our petroleum industry. And once again, I commend you all for your contributions. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President and my distinguished colleague, the second order of the day. Okay, Mr. President and my distinguished colleagues, I move that the remaining items on the order paper be stood down to the next legislative day. I so move.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, in view of the mood of the Senate, I second the motion that the other items on the order paper be stood down till the next legislative day.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor that the other items on the other paper should be stood down for next legislative day, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Distinguished colleagues, a couple of announcements. First announcement, Senator George Akume, remember yesterday did say that he was going to provide us with copies of a book called The Profiles in Courage by John F. Kennedy. Just to let you know that he has brought those copies available with the Secretariat for those who wish to read. I said the copies are with the Secretariat, so you can, and I think it's first come, first serve. It is, and I think he gave it to the party that needs it more. So I don't know if you have it, then it means that. Announcement. There will be a meeting of the caucus of the biggest party in Africa, APC. There will be a meeting of the caucus of the biggest party in Africa, APC, the party with only one chapter. Immediately after today's sitting, venue Senate Chair Hearing Room 1, signed Senator Adeye, Chief Whip. Distinguished colleagues, the Senate is here that are currently adjourned till Tuesday, 12th of July, 2016, 10 a.m. prompt.